8. Elderberry, Sambucus nigra. Elderberry grows as a large shrub or small tree along fence lines, roadsides, stream banks, and forest edges throughout the eastern and central United States. Most people who have it growing on their property either don't recognize it or simply cut it back when it gets too large. The berries are small, dark purple, and produced in enormous flat-topped clusters called cymes in late summer. The flowers, which appear in early summer, are flat, creamy white, and fragrant. If there is one plant on this list that has crossed over into mainstream awareness, it's elderberry. And yet most people still encounter it only as an expensive supplement purchased in a bottle rather than as the free medicine growing in the hedgerow behind their house. The active compounds in elderberry that drive its antimicrobial activity include anthocyanins, primarily cyanidin-3-glucoside and cyanidin-3-sambubioside, along with flavonoids and polyphenols. These compounds have been shown in clinical trials, not just laboratory studies, to significantly reduce the duration and severity of influenza infection. A 2016 study published in Nutrients found that elderberry supplementation substantially reduced the duration of colds in air travelers. A 2004 randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial found that elderberry extract reduced the duration of influenza by an average of 4 days compared to placebo. The mechanism is particularly interesting. Elderberry compounds appear to interfere with the ability of viruses to attach to host cells and replicate, while simultaneously stimulating the immune system's cytokine production to mount a faster, more targeted response. This is different from how conventional antivirals work and represents a genuinely novel mode of action. The berries must be cooked before eating. Raw berries contain a compound that can cause nausea in some people. But cooked into syrups, jams, or teas, they are both safe and delicious. The flowers can be eaten raw or made into elderflower cordial. This plant is producing free medicine and it's growing wild at the edges of properties all over America. 9. Goldenrod, Solidago canadensis and related species. Goldenrod is perhaps the most unjustly maligned plant in America. It blooms in late summer and early fall, producing tall plumes of golden yellow flowers at exactly the same time as ragweed. And it has spent decades taking the blame for ragweed's pollen allergies because of simple visual confusion. Goldenrod is insect pollinated. Its pollen is too heavy to become airborne. It does not cause hay fever. Ragweed, which blooms simultaneously but has inconspicuous green flowers, is wind-pollinated and the true culprit. Goldenrod has been falsely convicted of an offense it did not commit for generations. And this is a tragedy, because goldenrod is one of the most important medicinal plants in North America. It has been used by dozens of indigenous nations for respiratory infections, wound healing, and urinary tract infections. Modern research has confirmed each of these uses at the molecular level. Goldenrod contains saponins, flavonoids, and phenolic acids, including lyocarpicide, which has documented antibacterial and anti-inflammatory activity. Studies have demonstrated goldenrod's effectiveness against urinary tract bacteria in particular, with enough supporting evidence that in Germany, the Commission E, the body that evaluates herbal medicines for regulatory purposes, has formally approved goldenrod preparations for the treatment of urinary tract infections, kidney and bladder stones, and as an anti-inflammatory agent. The anti-inflammatory action of goldenrod is driven largely by its quercetin content, one of the most studied anti-inflammatory compounds in natural medicine, and by its rutin content, which supports vascular integrity and reduces inflammatory mediators. These compounds work synergistically, meaning their combined effect is greater than either would produce alone. Goldenrod flowers dried and made into tea are a classic American folk remedy for colds, flu, and urinary complaints. The tea is warming and slightly sweet. It does not cause allergies. It belongs in every herbalist's cabinet and in every American backyard, which means it probably already is in your backyard, and you've been cutting it down. 10. Stinging nettle, Urtica dioica. Yes, the one that stings. Yes, we're including it. If the sting has prevented you from taking nettle seriously, let me assure you that the medicinal and nutritional payoff is worth every precaution. Stinging nettle grows throughout the United States in moist, nutrient-rich areas. Stream banks, disturbed ground, old garden beds, fence lines. It can grow to 5 or 6 feet tall, and the entire above-ground portion is covered in hollow, silica-tipped hairs that inject a mixture of formic acid, histamine, serotonin, and acetylcholine into anything that touches them. This is the sting. It is temporary and entirely neutralized by cooking, drying, or wilting the plant. The medical literature on nettle is extensive. Nettle root has been studied extensively for its effects on prostate health and shows significant activity in reducing the symptoms of benign prostatic hyperplasia. Nettle leaf has been studied for allergic rhinitis, the very condition people wrongly blame goldenrod for, and has shown effectiveness in double-blind trials. And from an antimicrobial standpoint, nettle extracts have demonstrated activity against a range of bacteria and fungi, including Staphylococcus aureus and Aspergillus niger. A 2013 study found that nettle extracts had meaningful antibacterial activity against Staphylococcus aureus, with the researchers noting that the polyphenolic compounds in the plant were likely responsible for disrupting bacterial membrane function. The plant also contains lectins, proteins called urticadioica agglutinin, that have been shown to modulate immune response in ways that are being actively studied for applications in autoimmune disease and cancer. Nutritionally, nettle is extraordinary. It contains iron levels comparable to red meat by dry weight, along with significant calcium, magnesium, potassium, and vitamins A, C, and K. The young tops in spring, blanched and then sautéed with butter and garlic, are one of the finest wild vegetables you can eat. Nettle soup, nettle pesto, nettle tea, this plant is a complete food and a complete medicine, and it grows aggressively in fertile soil because it's trying to get your attention. Wear gloves when harvesting. Blanch it in boiling water for 60 seconds and all the sting is gone. Then treat it exactly like you would cooked spinach, because that's essentially what it is, only better. 11. Wild violet, Viola ceroria and related species. Wild violets bloom in early spring across lawns and garden beds throughout the eastern and central United States, producing small purple, white, or bicolored flowers close to the ground. Many homeowners admire them for about 2 weeks and then spend the rest of the growing season trying to eradicate them, because once established, wild violets spread both by seed and by underground rhizomes, and are genuinely difficult to remove. Here is why you should stop trying. Wild violets are among the most vitamin C-rich plants you can find in a temperate garden. A handful of fresh violet leaves contains more vitamin C than an equivalent amount of orange juice. They also contain rutin, a flavonoid glycoside with powerful antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties, and a range of other polyphenols that have demonstrated antimicrobial activity in laboratory settings. The flowers and young leaves are edible and have been used in traditional medicine across North America, Europe, and Asia for thousands of years. The flowers were used topically on wounds and infections by both indigenous Americans and European herbalists, who documented their use for treating boils, abscesses, and skin infections. Modern studies have confirmed that violet extracts do have antibacterial activity, including against organisms relevant to skin infections. The cyclotide content of violets is particularly interesting to modern researchers. Cyclotides are small, highly stable proteins found in violets that have demonstrated broad-spectrum antimicrobial activity against both bacteria and fungi, as well as antiviral and antiparasitic activity. They're being actively studied as templates for new pharmaceuticals precisely because of their unusual stability and potency. The flowers can be crystallized with egg white and sugar as edible cake decorations. Both flowers and leaves can go into salads. They can be made into a beautiful purple jelly using just the flowers, sugar, and lemon juice. And that jelly still carries the flavonoids and vitamin C of the fresh plant. Violets are not lawn pests. They are gifts in low-growing purple packaging. 12. Yarrow, Achillea millefolium. We close with yarrow, and it's appropriate that we do because yarrow is perhaps the oldest documented medicinal plant on Earth. Archaeobotanists analyzing the burial site of a Neanderthal man in Shanidar cave in Iraq, a burial estimated to be between 60 and 80,000 years old, found pollen from yarrow and several other medicinal plants clustered around the remains, suggesting intentional placement. Yarrow may have been used as medicine by our evolutionary predecessors before our own species fully emerged. If that does not qualify something as a proven remedy, I don't know what does. Yarrow grows as a common weed throughout the United States, with flat-topped clusters of white or occasionally pink flowers and finely divided, feathery leaves that give the plant a delicate, fern-like appearance. You can find it in lawns, roadsides, meadows, and waste areas, and it is deeply, deeply embedded in the folk medicine of nearly every culture that has ever encountered it. The plant is named after Achilles, who, according to Greek legend, used it to staunch the bleeding wounds of his soldiers. This is not mythology. This is a record of the plant's primary documented use across cultures, hemostasis. Yarrow is a styptic, meaning it causes blood vessels to constrict and promotes clotting. The compounds responsible include achillene, a betaine alkaloid with documented hemostatic properties, along with tannins that shrink and tighten tissue. But yarrow's antimicrobial properties are equally well documented. The plant contains azulene, a blue-colored compound produced when yarrow is steam distilled and found in smaller amounts in fresh plant material, which has potent anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial activity. Yarrow also contains camphor, borneol, and cineol, all of which have documented antibacterial and antifungal properties. A 2013 study in the journal Natural Product Communications found that yarrow essential oil showed significant antimicrobial activity against multiple bacterial strains, including Staphylococcus aureus, and meaningful antifungal activity as well. Yarrow has been used historically as a wound herb, a fever herb, a digestive bitter, a respiratory remedy, and a general anti-infective. Indigenous nations across North America used it for wound healing and infection prevention, with a consistency that mirrors its use in European and Asian traditional medicine, suggesting that independent human observations across cultures and millennia all reached the same conclusion. This plant fights infection. As a tea, yarrow is bitter and aromatic. It induces sweating, which is useful in the early stages of a fever as part of the body's natural infection-fighting response. Fresh leaves applied directly to a wound slow bleeding and inhibit bacterial colonization. The entire aerial plant, dried and made into a tincture, is a classic addition to any home medicine chest. Yarrow grows in your yard. It has always grown in your yard, and it has been waiting, patient as only a plant that has been waiting for 60,000 years can be, for you to finally leave it alone. So here we are, 12 plants, 12 organisms that your lawn service will charge you to eliminate, that your garden center has designed entire product lines to defeat, and that pharmaceutical companies have never needed to acknowledge because they don't come with a patent attached. I want to be careful here, because I mean every word of what I'm about to say. The same system that taught us to view our yards as sterile ornamental spaces taught us that health comes in a bottle with a label and a price tag attached. Some of that medicine is genuinely life-saving, and I would never suggest anyone stop following medical advice in favor of eating dandelions. But the idea that nature has nothing to offer, that the only legitimate medicines are the ones synthesized in laboratories, is not science. It is a cultural attitude dressed up as science. And the actual science, the peer-reviewed, double-blind, published in respected journal Science, tells a very different story. The plants in this video are not replacements for your doctor. They are not substitutes for emergency medicine or for the drugs that treat serious infections. But they are part of an ecological and biochemical heritage that belongs to every one of us. and understanding them changes the fundamental way you relate to the living world around you. Your backyard is not a problem to be solved. It is an ecosystem trying to support you if only you'll let it. So the next time you see a dandelion in your lawn, or a mat of chickweed in your garden bed, or a tall goldenrod swaying at the edge of your property, before you reach for anything designed to kill it, ask yourself one question. What if this was growing here on purpose? Because based on everything the science shows, it just might be.